All right. Okay. So look. First of all, I'm going to apologize. I had to step away for a moment. I had to step away for a moment. So I'm gonna get right back into the video that I was doing earlier, which was called "Colonize Masonry." I'm talking about colonized Black Prince Hall, colonized Black ancient, free, and accepted Mason. I'm talking about colonized Masonry among African Americans. Period. Colonized Masonry. And I was in doing that particular video, I was explaining why I felt that Black Masons, as we know it today, is more of a colonized set of masonry. And I'm sorry that I'm on late. I mean, on the East Coast, it's probably pretty late. It's about 9:30 here, so we're looking at 11:30, 12:30 East Coast time. What's up? What's up, Simply D? you know so I'm just gonna get right into this, and you can pick this up tomorrow. But it was hot, man. It was hot, but I got interrupted. I had to go take care of a little family business, but I'm back. So I'm gonna talk about colonized masonry amongst Black Masons: ancient, free, and accepted; modern, free, international, universal, you name it. I'm talking about colonized Freemasonry. And some of you probably saying, what is he talking about? How's that even so? Well, I'm going to break down a few things to you real quick. See, when I look at Freemasonry, and I want you to take this picture. Freemasonry is all about you. And I've said it many a times before, but I'm going to come to you from a different perspective when I talk about colonized Freemasonry. When you think of individuals who have been colonized, what happens is that the people who are being colonized don't even realize it until they're overwhelmed, until their system, their way of life has been taken away from them. I'm going to put it to you this way. Right now over in Africa, the people who are being ruled are not the ones who are in the majority. That is colonization 101. You go in, you set up your way of government, you set up your way of living, and you give the people who you come to colonize that way, that type, that mentality of thinking. And pretty soon you have them thinking like you think. You have them thinking they're less than. You have them to believing they're less than. You have them where you want them at. You're in the minority, but yet you rule in the majority. Colonization 101. That's all it is. So in other words, when I think of masonry amongst African Americans or Black people, period, around the world, I think of how we was brought to America. Everything I've ever read in any Masonic, what happened? I went off for a moment. I don't know what exactly happened, but I was saying, so when I think of colonization as far as Freemasonry is concerned amongst the African American brothers who are here, I'm gonna set this up. Every Masonic ritual I've ever read, everything about it, it talks about the continent of Africa. Everything about it. It has nothing to do with France. It has nothing to do with the Brits, Australia, nothing to do with England, nothing to do with Europe, period. Everything in your Masonic ritual leads and dictates to what's happening over in the continent of Africa. Let me tell you this here. So, name me another people that was neither clothed nor naked, hook-wink, with a cable tow around their neck, led to a door, the door no return, right? Placed on a boat, taken from the east, come to the west. You're stripped of your identity, your religion, your everything about you is gone. They took it all. You have nothing of metal, nothing on you at all. You are buried. You are left for dead. No other people. Now, if you are a Mason, what degree does that remind you of? Huh? It should remind you of a couple of degrees. Listen to what I just said. As a Black man, as my ancestor was brought from a easterly course to a westerly course, brought and buried, left for dead. They're waiting to be resurrected. We are waiting to be resurrected. Now check this correlation out. So, as a Mason, okay, when you understand what I'm about to say, So our ancestors was neither naked nor clothes, hook-winked, right? Brought to a door, led out to a ship, buried, brought on a Wesley's course, stripped of their identity, their name, their language, their religion, everything is taken, right? Now, they're waiting to be raised. They're waiting to be conscious. They're not waiting to be raised from the dead. They're waiting to be, this is it right here. All right, so there's no other people. So everything you read in your ritual deals with the continent of Africa. Joppa, what about Joppa? Huh? Think about that. Go read your second degree and understand about Joppa, right? Being raised from a dead level to a living perpendicular. Understand that was taken. That was all of that was taken and doing under the pyramids. Now, if you really want to do some reading, read about the aspect of being raised under the pyramids. That's where all of that was taking place at. So when you look at that in itself, it should tell you something about Masonry amongst us. We was colonized. Follow me, if you will. And I say that because, once again, when you look at us as a people, now, when Prince Hall the man and those 14 other brothers who we tend to leave out, we leave out those other brothers who were made Masons around the time that Prince Hall was made Mason. We just put him out front. Now, I don't want to get into the debate when he was made and all that. I'm just saying that we know that at some point in time, there was 14 gentlemen, 14 black men who had been seeking membership into other fraternal lodges but were denied, and they became Masons, okay? At the point of them becoming Masons, yet being still denied, that didn't stop them. They continued their journey, right? So as they continued their journey, what was the name of their lodge? African Lodge. It wasn't called Prince Hall Lodge. Everything about them was African Lodge. Everything about us was African Lodge. African Grand Lodge this, African Lodge that. It wasn't until after his death that us, brothers, our brothers, began and said, you know what, in his honor, we do X, Y, and Z. Period. And when I say us, I'm speaking of us black men, period. I'm not trying to distinguish A.F. and A.M. and Prince Hall. I'm not trying to distinguish. I'm saying us, period. Okay? So, now, check this out. As we continue our journey here in the States, we're still waiting to be, what? Raised, right? And I say that because most of us are still amongst those who have colonized us. We think like them. We want our lodges set up like them. We want our initiations done like them. All of that. Now, if you go back and look at the ancient customs of Africa, I'm not going to even bring Freemasonry up. I'm just saying the customs of Africa, because that's where Freemasonry comes from. When you go back and check out the customs, then you understand what Freemasonry is and is not. And I say that once again because once you get into your readings, everything changes. I mean, even with this here, if you have these two books, Scottish Rite Volume 1 and 2, right? Even if you have this, once you get into the readings in this, your whole perspective about what you've been taught, what you've been told should change. It really, really should. And if it doesn't, then you didn't read the book. You didn't get none out of it. There's no way possible that you can read either of these books and think that it's all good. It is not all good. Brother, you've been hook-winked and really bamboozled if you think so. If you believe the masonry that you practice now is all there is to practice in Freemasonry, you are wrong. If you believe that this is it, that if your Grand Lodge is all there is to be, everything has to run through this, no, you are wrong, man. And sisters, I'm talking to you too. Anything I do, I want to include my sisters because we walk side by side. I'm not going to leave my sisters out. I'm just saying you should be listening to this too. Because the Eastern Star degree, I'm going to go back, but the Eastern Star degrees that you have, those 5 degrees that you have, are Christian degrees. They're Christian rites. It is. Look at the guy who wrote the degrees. The degrees themselves of the Eastern Star come from France. It was amongst those brothers that sat in the lodge. It used to be called a lodge. But when it came here, when Robert, I can't even think of his name. Shucks, where my Eastern Star book at? When Robert McCoy brought the Eastern Star Works here to the United States, he changed it. That's a fact. The Eastern Star Works, before it became Eastern Star as we know it, they were part of the Masonic Lodge. This is why in most cases, overseas, you don't find Eastern Stars. You only find them here in the United States. Period. Everything else is, that's why they don't deal like that. That's why the Eastern Stars can't leave the United States. You don't travel no place else here but the United States. But the sisters who are Masons overseas, they travel like Masons do. Now, we may say that we don't recognize them, but them sisters get down. They travel like Masons. So you can take that or let it alone. That's how they get down. Now, back to what I was saying in regards to being colonized. When you understand what colonization is. So, as time progressed, when we had our own, you know, when we was all one under the National Compact of Grand Lodge, when we all had that one thing going, it was just us. We didn't ask nobody for nothing. And when we did and they didn't give it to us, we said, the hell with it, we'll do our own thing. And we did for a minute. For a minute until some felt, well, you know what, we want to be like them others and have our own. Okay, but what I'm saying is that when you look at who we are, African American Masons, everything that we need to know, if we would go back to customs of Africa, you can apply those same things to your life, to what's happening right now in Freemason. You can apply it all, the working tools, all of that can be applied. Because if you know anything about the ancient customs, once again, you will see all of those working tools there. All of them. All they did was took those same tools as they discovered Masonry over in Africa, brought them back over to Europe, and made a system for themselves, and then sold you the system. Think about that. When Africa was colonized, our brothers and sisters in slavery, they took Masonry, organizing in such a way to where they would not allow you to participate, even though it was all about you, okay? And then flipped it and gave it to you and said, hey, you know what? Yeah, you can check this out. Yeah, you can check it out. That's what they did. And I would say that in the beginning, because all the lodges was called African Lodge, apparently those gentlemen understood that. Because if they didn't, why would they call it African Lodge? I'm just looking at it from a whole nother point of view, a whole nother perspective. Because sometimes we get caught up in the craziness. And I'm not about that. I'm not going to get caught up in that. I just want us to understand who we are as Black Masons, period. You know, when you go join a fraternal lodge and you read those rituals, it's all about you. You know, when you go into the, man, I want to go somewhere, but I don't want to disclose too much, you know. But when you begin to reflect in the chamber, you know, when you sit in the chamber and begin to reflect, then you know. Thank you, Brother Rogers. Glad to have you aboard. Brother Jackson, glad to have you aboard. So you begin to reflect. And what are you reflecting upon? When you're in the chambers of reflection, what are you reflecting on? What is that all about? It reminds me or gives me some idea about when my brothers, my ancient sisters, those who are long gone, my ancestors, when they was neither hoodwinked or blindfolded and brought to a door of no return, and when they looked out, it was a reflection of nothing. They saw no return, nothing, and they were put in the belly of a boat or a ship, right? Taken from the east and brought to the west and buried and left for dead. Name, identity, language taken away. We don't even speak our own language. So I'm looking at that from strictly that point of view, nothing else. And once you get into the ancient customs about what Masonry is, you would see something totally different. You wouldn't necessarily see the system that you have now. Because the system you have now doesn't give you, in my opinion, all you need to know about you. It's really watered down and sugar coated. You know, the customs have been watered down. Now, from my own reading, and I encourage you brothers, you sisters, to pick up books, get Masonic books, read it, find out for yourself. From what I've gathered, when I talk about the ancient customs, it was a rite of passage, okay? Rites of passage, all right? Youth, manhood, age. It was a rite of passage, okay? And when you take it from that point of view, when you look at it from that point of view, bro, you see so much more than what is offered to you in your ritual, so much more what is offered to you in what you hear. This is why you have to go and seek this knowledge, this truth for yourself, because people telling you things ain't gonna cut it. Greetings, Freemason Unlocked, bro. We're going to talk. Greetings. Brother David, Southern California, welcome aboard. But this is what I try to convey to brothers, to sisters, you know, to learn. And I'm gonna tell you this here. So a lot of people want to get down on brothers who may be part of co-ed Freemasonry. Let me tell you, if you really want to get down, I mean really want to get down and learn some stuff, yeah, it's different. See, we try to follow a colonized type of Freemasonry. And there's no disrespect to mainstream. Don't even try it. I'm not trying to do all this. I'm just giving you what's rightfully yours. If you're willing to accept it, if you're willing to take it, and it's yours already, but you're so hot and hell bent on somebody else saying that it's not, to you're not even willing to accept that which is already yours. It's yours already. All you gotta do is say, I'll take it. Take it, learn from it, build on it, and understand that this type of Freemasonry, this Scottish Rite Volume 1 and 2, it's okay. I've learned a lot from it. But when you indulge yourself in it, man, it's so much more. It is so much more. It deals with if you would just take your time, right? And you begin to look into this thing we call the Scottish Rite Volume 1 and 2. It all deals with astrology. It deals with the zodiacs. This is what this deals with. It deals with zodiac signs. It deals with astrology. But how many of us indulge ourselves in it to really find out? How does all of that tie into Masonry? You know, geometry, you've heard that. The seven liberal arts, you've heard that. I just want to show it to you from a different point of view, from your ancestry point of view. Okay? Now, the ideal is are you willing to go do the work to find out for yourself? That's the question. And I don't think a lot of us are ready. Man, my wife makes some good Kool-Aid. I don't think a lot of us is ready to find out. I think a lot of us is happy that we're Masons and Eastern Stars. I think a lot of us are okay with it. You should never be okay with it. You should be always taking and learning and passing that knowledge on and giving people references to where you got it from. And that's the best way to pass it on, because all of this knowledge that some of us have, and some of us have a lot, when you gone, you ain't gonna do nothing but take it with you, and it's gonna be a lost cause. Oh, he was so smart. Man, dude, he can spit it. But he never left you nothing. She never left you and told you where you can get it from. She never left you the books, or he never left you the books. I have a complete library. And if I go, my brothers can have it. Yeah, they can have it. You know, my wish from my grandmaster, they know who they are. They can come over and pillage through it. I'm just saying that we should begin to write our own history in regards to Freemasonry. Not just accept someone else's version for it. It's their version. Let them have it. And it's really okay. It's really all right. It's when you do something for yourself. Don't you ever get tired of somebody doing something for you, and then when you go to claim something, it ain't yours? It's somebody else's? I don't know how you feel, but that's how I feel. You know what? And I'm going back to this. I like these two books. I do. I like Scottish Rite Volume 1 and 2 because I got a lot out of it. But I also had to understand I needed more books. This was just a tip of the iceberg. And then when you get other books, Christianity Before Christ, when you go get other books, you know, and you begin to read, and you be like, wait a minute, hold up, what? What? You have that wow moment. And so in the process of understanding Freemasonry and Colonized amongst us, you ain't gonna do nothing but shake your head. Now what are you gonna do about it? You know, that's you should ask yourself, where do you go from here? I've shared this information with you. I've told you where I got it from. Now where do you go from here? Do you just sit on the information? Do you share it? Do you say, look, bruh, this is us. All of this is us. The ideal is somebody has packaged it, boxed it up, put a bow on it, and gave it to you, said, look, this is what I got from you. Surprise. No, I'm not surprised. And I'll tell you another thing. The true essence of Freemasonry, when you look at what Masonry is, as far as from the African ancestors' point of view, you know how long it took them brothers to become masters at their work, and then when they became masters at their work, they put their print on it. They put their stamp on it. What degree is that? Where you have to put your stamp on something. And that's what they did. In the fourth degree of the Scottish Rite, the Mason is asked why he see the pyramids and the drift. And he is told that it is a reference to the ancient Egypt, African, where the arts and science are. Thank you. That's all I'm saying. Now, how long is it going to take for us to take that and own it? How long is it going to be before we really become conscious, before we raise from a dead level to a living perpendicular? How long is it going to take us to understand that? It's not about who's recognized and who's not. It's about really becoming enlightened about who you are. You know? For a long time, you've been kept out of the lodges. A long time. And then when you finally get into the lodges, and we don't even see that it's about us. Somebody fed us some BS, and we good with it. I'm not good with it. This is why I've invested my money in different books, because I'm not good with it. I want to know this stuff. You know, I want to know it for what it is, not for what somebody gave me. And then when you get there, when you get to that point, it's over. And it's not that nobody can't come and tell you nothing, because people can always give information, share information. I'm saying it's over because you're going to be able to share what you have with someone. You're going to be able to break the books out. Because let me tell you, they write their history and said this is where Masonry comes from. Europe, 1717. That's where the beginning of the system for which it is practiced comes from. That is a lie. Bet. 1717 is the system for which most of us have adopted and said we're good with it. That's false advertising. It started before 1717. You have to go look. I tell you, get into your ritual and begin to read it. Part 1, all the sections, Fellowcraft, the whole thing, Master Mason, the whole thing. And when you read it, find and see if it says anything about Europe, France, Asia, wherever. See if it says anything other than Africa in there. If it says something other than Africa than yours, share that ritual with me. I'd like to know that ritual, because everyone that I've picked up reference Africa. And if it's reference Africa, what made Africa so special that everything in there is reference to Africa? This is why it's important that you go to your lodge meetings and share lectures. Put together your own lecture, take it to your meeting and share it. You know, I seen a video not long ago of a brother talking about clandestine masonry. And I was in his video. I really felt privileged. And I think he was from the Grand Lodge of New York or something like that. And he was talking about uh, um, clandestine Grand Lodges meeting with brothers overseas and establishing amity with them, treaties, Masonic treaties, and visitation with them. Isn't that what Masonry is supposed to be about? But you mad at me, you're mad at brothers of different obediences who go and do the very thing you do, and then you call them clandestine because they're doing it. This is why Masonry is so much bigger than where you at. Just because you may be bigger, you may have the better buildings, your lodge is great on the inside. You may have all of that. But if you don't look at the scope of Freemasonry for what it is and how it touches and affects people's lives, then you're a lost cause. You're a man who's able to travel but refuse to get off the porch. So you don't even know. That's the craziness. You don't even know. You just going on something. I don't know what you're going on. But this is the important thing about Freemasonry. You have to come off the porch. You know, you have to do something differently than you've seen done. I was talking to Grandmaster Munoz, the past Grandmaster Munoz from the Hispanic Grand Lodge of North America. And I was telling him how important his Grand Lodge is to the Hispanic culture. And I hope he understood that what I was saying is that every culture that is involved with Freemasonry needs that. They need to be able to identify with Freemasonry in such a way till they take on the essence of what it's all about. That goes for my white brothers, that goes for my Asian brothers, that goes for my Latino brothers, that goes for us here in America, my African American brothers, that goes for any race, any group of people who find themselves in a Grand Lodge or in a Masonic Lodge. They need to take on that, and it's going to shape them. This is why I know of a Jewish lodge. It's totally, everybody in there is Jewish. I know a Filipino lodge. Everybody in there is Filipino. So what's wrong with having your own? What's wrong with it? This is why it's important, even for us, Black, ancient, free, and accepted Masons. This is why it's so important for us to unify. Not unify as in, I'm going to come and take over yours and you're going to take over. No. When I say unify, I'm speaking strictly from a Masonic amity, Masonic fellowship, just to unify, to come together, to grow together, to uphold each other. You know, that's including my Hispanic brothers. That is why it's important that we do these things. Because so long we've been locked out. So what happens is what? You can't get in. No, we don't know. You know. No. But I'm going to tell you this here, and that's the important thing. So even when you get into this, and you find out that it deals in, I just said astrology. This deals in astrology. It does. And when you come to find out that it deals in astrology, are you just going to say, oh, I'm good? It deals with the zodiac signs. It deals in all of that. You got to get into it. You just can't put it down and say, oh, I'm a Scottish Rite Mason. I'm a York Rite Mason. No, you have to get into it. Excuse me just a second. You got to get into it. That's the thing. That's to me, that's what's important, is understanding the whole concept of Freemasonry and what you are involved with. Hold on just a second. Okay, I know most of you are seeing this chart, right? Most of you are seeing this chart. But nobody on this chart looks like you, but they're dressed like our ancestors in a sense, especially on the Scottish Rite and York Rite side. Okay? And that's what I'm saying. You know, we have to start taking on our own culture within Freemasonry because that's who it's about. And when you get into the workings on the Scottish Rite and York Rite side, you will find that it all comes together. It really does. This is why the pyramids are not capped, per se. This is why it's not capped. And when you are able to grab, oh man. Ooh. Okay, so I'm gonna share this with you. So we've heard about Christ, right? Fasting in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights, right? What do you think he went? What do you think took place while he went away doing these things? Let me tell you. Here's what I've read, and I want you to go and find it for yourself. Iron sharpens iron. He was initiated into the priesthood under the pyramids. The pyramids have many chambers in there, right? It does, has many chambers in there. And when you begin to go through these different chambers, it's about a lesson, it's about a teaching. I'm telling you, you got to go get it. He was being initiated into into the priesthood. The priesthood has an initiation process. Think about Melchizedek. Pick up your Bibles, pick up your Qurans, okay? Pick up your holy books. It was an initiation process. If you look at how the Catholic Church is set up, look at your United Supreme Council. It's set up the same way your Catholic Church is set up. Oh, you didn't know that? Yes, they have conclaves too. The Catholic Church and your United Supreme Council, by whatever name you call it, is set up on the same scale. It's a fact of the matter. If you look at your United Supreme Council, it's set up as identical. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna have to look for it, but the heptagon, the octagon. I think I'm mispronouncing that. But if I had the chart, I will show it to you, and I can point it out exactly what I'm talking about and why it's set up there. Because all of the camps are set outside, and they're like 1, 2. It's 4. Okay, it's 4. And if you are a 33rd degree, you know what each one of those camps have a color, right? Not only do they have a color, there's a letter outside each of the camps, right? And it spells out something, right? If you're a 33rd, you know what it says, right? And inside of the camp, once you get to the center core of the camp, as a matter of fact, the Pentagon in the United States is shaped just like it. The Pentagon is shaped just like what I'm talking about. It goes out, then it comes back, and you have that small circle in the middle, right? That is where I would say your most puissant sovereign grand commander sits, and then he sits, and then his cabinet sits around him, okay? And that's just like the Pope, all right? The Pope is selected Pope for life. Your president, your most puissant sovereign grand commander is selected for life unless you vote him out. Same thing. The exact same process, okay? If you look at the Catholic Church and how they're structured, you will find that totally on your Scottish Rite side as far as your United Supreme Council is set up. It is exactly like that. And that's for real. That's the truth. Ruth. Dang it, where can I can't even find it. It's a oh shucks. Wait a minute. I might have it here. Oh, got it. Got it. Boom. You see this? That's the setup. And each one of these is a color. They're each colored, okay? So, now, let's get down with a little something, something. Now, if you're a 33rd degree, each one of these have letters outside. And they mean something, okay? They're also numbered, too. Some of them are numbered, but they really have letters, okay? All right? Oh, I'm away with. I'm sorry. So each one of these have letters around it, okay? Now, mine have numbers, and I understand what the numbers relate to the letters. I got that, all right? And then on the inside, all right, you have different animals, right? You have your 30, your double-headed eagle. You have a dove. You have an ox. You have a lamb. You have a diocese, okay? Then here, okay, you have a crow, you have a dove, you have a, I wish I had a better color and I could tell you exactly what the bird is over here. But check it out. In the center is your most peaceful and sovereign grand commander. So you just take your time and just check that out. Go look at this for what it is. It is established just like your Catholic Church is just like that. You're probably saying, I done lost my mind. No, I've done my research. That's a fact. Okay? That's a fact. So if you're gonna get into it, so if you're looking at what it represents, you know, especially if you're dealing with the 18th through the 26th degree, all right, the Rose Cross, the Knights of the East and West, and the Prince of Jerusalem, you know, and then break it down. Let's break this down a little bit more. Because each one of those means something. Each one of them means something. The process is how many of us take our time to go and see what each one of those houses represent and what they actually mean. Let's see. Let's get into this. Let's get into this. Like right now. Okay? Like right now. I'm gonna have some fun. I'm gonna have some fun. Like right now. So my brother just posted something about that 4th degree just a second ago. But the fourth degree, under the Lodge of Perfection side of the house, the Scottish Rite side of the house, we're talking about the Master Traveler, right? Okay, the Master Traveler. The degree provides us with a preview of more truth, all right? We shall witness in our journey through this thing we call Scottish Rite, or really through this thing we call life. This is where it all starts from. So even if you are in the blue house, you know, you're in apprentice fellowcraft, you're going to still get this stuff. You know, you're still going to get it. And I'm going to talk about the 4th degree. Let's talk about the 5th degree, which is your perfect master, which teaches us that selfishness through unworthiness, ambitions, corrupts and destroys the man. Each of these degrees have a teachings. But how many of us actually share what they teach? And I'm about to go into it because I want to share what they teach. All right. So let's take a look at the 6th degree. All right. The master of the blazing bronze serpent. All right. The 6th degree. We learn from this degree that we must have faith in ourselves, faith in each other, and faith in what? God. And like, oh, y'all are cult. Y'all don't believe in. Look, you can't be an atheist and be a Mason. It ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna flow. It ain't gonna happen. And then you have the 8th degree, the intended of the building, the builders or buildings. The 8th degree, we are reminded that this degree, that each new honor is a step towards more perfection. Each honor earns and requires attention to particular duties. So what are your particular duties? Has he found suitable proficiencies in the proceedings, degrees? What is your particular duties? And that's what you have to ask yourself. So you're going to get down a little bit more. Let's go to the 9th degree. The master of the Templars. The message for this degree is that The mutual belief in a supreme being should bind all men together in a worldwide brotherhood. Listen to this. I'm just giving you the basics of each degree. The ninth degree on the lodge of perfection, okay? This degree teaches us that we all should have a belief in a supreme being which binds us all together. That's really the ninth degree. So let's go into the that's the ninth. Let me see. That's the ninth degree. Let me see. I got another one here. 8. This is 10. Okay. All right. Yeah. I was gonna go into another degree, but I don't see what I'm looking for right now. Hold on. Just a second, bro. Just a second. Nope. Oh, there you go. So let's look at the 10th degree. We learned that in this degree, that a person who violates his obligation, regardless of his station in life, would not go unpunished. The universe has a way of showing us some things, and I mean, it just does. It makes us humble every day. It does. And then let's go into the 11th degree. The sublime master elect, the degree, the importance of this degree is of good citizenship. That honesty and respect for others should be rewarded. But why is it that we have so much disrespect in Freemasonry amongst the brotherhood? In a sense, I ain't gonna say all, but you know, we do. I'm just putting it out there, we do. And some may say, bro, you know, you shouldn't be saying all of that. You shouldn't. No, I'm saying it all because it's truth. Look, we talk about how much and how beautiful this organization is. We know that for those of us who are really sincere about Freemasonry, we get that. Those of us who like to play games with it are the ones who's missing it. Those are the ones who's missing it. And that's the truth. So we're going to get on down to the 14th degree, Grand Elect Mason. At the summit of the ancient craft Masonry, this degree impresses upon us with holiness of God and the reverence and duty to his holy name. Now look, I'm going to share this with you. And this is why I say you should look at it from an ancestral point of view. The mere fact that it says that this degree impresses upon us the holiness of God and the reverence and due to his holy name. To his holy name. You have to go and get this stuff for yourself. Because, bruh, it gets deep. All right? It just gets deep. And then you have the Council Prince of Jerusalem degree. The Knights of the East. The lesson in this degree emphasizes the importance of loyalty to others and the belief of fidelity to our obligation. It's just, I'm going to tell you, bro, all of these degrees reverse back to your first, second, and third degree. I don't care how high you go, but you got to come down. You could be a 95th, 100. Look, it all revolves around those first 3 degrees. And I would say this, as much as I know, as far as the first, second, and third degree, when you get into the ancient customs of Freemasonry and look at how our ancestors taught Masonry, and they did, it to me, it makes me want to stay there. It makes me want to stay right in that area to where I can become a master at it. You know, some of us become master masons and we take that 1-day class. You know what, you've seen them. 1-day class, first through the third degree, 8 hours. Boom, you're a master mason. Carry on. Give me that $1,000. I'm just throwing a figure out there. I don't know really how much, but it happens. So you have to consider all of that. So look, I know it's late. I apologize. I had to take care of the business. So you know what? We're going to get down some more. I'm going to elaborate on some more on colonization of Freemasonry amongst Prince Hall and the Black Ancient Free and Accepted Masons, period. Because we have been colonized into a system that once denied us now wants to accept us. Or may I say, into a system that denied us but now will accept some of us. Colonization 101 at its best. Keep you divided and multiplied, you know, and then before you know it, you be like, what happened? What happened? Wake up. Rise up. Keep your light on and stay out them bushes. I'm out. Enjoy your day. Be blessed and not stressed. I'm out.